Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. It's Healthy Week over at NBC. Not to be confused with Green Week. That's an entirely different, that's Health Week for the planet. This is Health Week for your body. It's all about saving trees for Green Week. But this one, Health Week, designed to inform and activate individuals around health and wellness. And they're going to bring you health-related content all across the NBC Universal brands. Yes! They're doing it not because they love Michelle Obama, no, because they love your health. Both on air and online. Health Week, NBC, which is great, and it's being sponsored by the good people at General Mills. So I wanted to do my part. Whole grain, says right here, whole grain. This is healthy, and this one is General Mills. And the Cookie Crisp, oh my gosh, don't touch me Lucky Charms, I love that one. And then the Betty Crocker frosting, I love that one. Oh, I love fruit roll-ups too. Where's the, oh, the Funfetti. Have you had the Funfetti cake yet for Health Week? This is something from NBC I can get behind. Thanks, NBC Universal. You're great. Hello, America. Actually, I do love all of those products, which... All right. You might not have seen, because the media seems to have decided at some point or another that the relentless making fun of presidential gaffes overseas is like so totally last Bush. You know, not this one. We here have Obama completing one of the most humiliating trips by a president of all time, and nobody's noticing it. I mean, it's gaffe after gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. Really, it is. Where we have them. Oh, this was embarrassing. This is humiliating. You have to see this one, and it makes you feel bad for them. It does. That's their national anthem. You should hide the kids before we get to these at the bottom of the hour. I mean, we might as well have sent Joe Biden on this trip. About the only thing he didn't do was bow down to Pippa, which, look at what strange hands you have, Pippa. That's the bad news of the day. Good news of the day, our president is once again making America the laughingstock of the world. Yes, yes. And more than with just the stupid gaffes. He's alienating our longest and most staunch allies. We don't have a lot of them left. I was like, where did I put my friends? Wow. Here's the real good news. More and more people around the world are waking up and standing up. Not because of the stupid gaffes. That's a distraction. Those would be some of the cakes and circuses. There are people at the highest levels all around the world who get it. They know the difference between good and evil. You are not alone. And in their own way, they're doing their part to stand up. Most you won't ever see and won't know. Many aren't even Americans because, well, I think actually it's easier for Americans to stay asleep than overseas because we here have become so complacent with our unique gift that was given to us by our founding fathers, that was so carefully crafted for us that we stay a snooze a little too long. They know that America is freedom's last stand. We have several sources all around, and does it make the left nervous? Yes, it does. Very. We have sources all around the world. We had some sources that I told you about yesterday informed me that at the highest levels in Syria and Iran, they know the power of what we are on, and they also know that we know what they're doing. What they're doing is they are setting Israel up, and that's why I put this together. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know the president was going to all of a sudden say, you know what, we should give Jerusalem to the Palestinians. Didn't know that. Suspected, and I know what's coming up this summer, and I know that if the world will stand and be courageous, it will turn everything around in a heartbeat. The event we're doing is called Restoring Courage, and we'll talk about it later on. But before we talk about it, I have to talk to you about the news of the day, but in a way that you're not going to get on other news channels. First is Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu gave a fantastic speech to Congress yesterday, which was only tarnished by the 28-year-old Code Pink idiot and Joe Biden, who for some reason wasn't clapping, especially in the important part, like when he said, we're not going to go back to the 67 lines. He didn't clap. Everybody else was. Why? Top official for Palestinian President Abbas said that Netanyahu's insistence on keeping key territories is, quote, a declaration of war against the Palestinians. That's not good. We are headed for real trouble in the world. Obama gives a speech. This is the way it's being framed. Obama gives a speech and Netanyahu responds. But that's not the way it was. Netanyahu was scheduled to give the speech, and Obama jumped out in front of it. Is that what a friend does? While he's doing that, what the world is not seeing, the plight to the Palestinians, well, let me show you things that aren't being seen on American television, and you ask yourself why. Palestinians are telling people that Israel has declared war on them. Palestinians, prominent ones, are speaking out. Now, here's a guy who was a sponsor of last year's flotilla. He's a Lebanese businessman and activist, sponsor of last year's flotilla. Watch what he says.
نتنياهو الذي يقول بأنه يجب حق اللجوء أن
حله خارج إسرائيل كما يدعي.
يجب أن يحل مشكلته عندما يعود إلى وطنه الأصلي موسكو. هؤلاء النفايات البشرية لك حتى بلفور عندما تحمس وأعطى شعب وأعطى أرضي لهؤلاء اليهود قال لكي نتخلص منهم، يعني بحماسته لكي نتخلص منهم، وزدتوا لنا هدول النفايات الذي يجب أن نرميهم، ليس نرميهم في بلادهم.
So the English brought us these pieces of filth, he says. War with pieces of filth who should be sent back to where they came from. Remember, this is the guy who's sponsoring the humanitarian effort. Is it now? Why is no one reporting on this? Here's another clip from an Egyptian children's program. Egypt. This is what they're teaching their children on television. Why haven't you seen this before?
تقول ازاي ترد على اليهود الوحشين اللي بيقول لك ان القدس بتاعتنا، ازاي ترد عليه؟ عرب اول حاجه نرد بيها على اليهود ان المدينه دي، مدينه القدس المباركه دي، سكنها العرب عاشوا فيها قبل اول عهد لليهود، يعني قبل اول واحد يهودي يروح يقعد فيها بكام سنه؟ باكتر من 1000 الوحشين. يستعدوا ويخلوا الاطفال الصغيرين يعملوا حاجات وحشه كتير علشان يكرهوا الاسلام ويموتوا كل اخواتنا المسلمين هناك.
He thinks I saw a putty cat. Call me crazy, but it doesn't seem like this is going to end well. America, the world is headed for another disaster, and we have our eyes wide open. And it's a disaster that we promised we would never let happen again. Now, here's the question. Does the president know this? You have to answer that question. The president has either, I think, knowingly or unknowingly, set the world on a collision course because there's no way back around out of this. And we're supposed to be Israel's best friend. Let me tell you a story. Let's see if this makes sense to you. One of my best friends growing up was Robert, so let's just use him as an example. If I needed to come over because I had neighbors that were trying to attack me and I really needed help from Robert, my best friend growing up, I would call him up and I'd say, hey, I really need to talk to your family because I really need to enlist your help. Can I meet with them on Friday? And he'd say, sure, come on over. Talk to that's what a friend would do, right? Come on over, talk to the family. Now imagine if my best friend said, yeah, but as I'm getting into the car to go over to his house, I find out that my best friend just sat his family down and said, listen, I don't care what Glenn says to you, but let me tell you about his neighbors. If we're going to do anything, it's got to be under these conditions. And it's what the neighbors have been screaming at. Now, he knew these conditions would be unacceptable to me. Is he my friend? So when I finally get to the house where I can talk to the family, he's already talked to them. So I have to then respond to what he said. Now, that's not the act of a friend. But then when I do get to make my case, he doesn't give my family a chance to even talk about it because he's off onto something else. He changes the subject to something entirely different. He left while I was still making the argument with the family to go to another event, making sure to tell the family before he leaves how important, you listen to Glenn, they're important to me. Half the family went with him, by the way. Divides the attention. That's what's happened. You see, this is what happened. Thursday, Benjamin Netanyahu went to Congress. This was scheduled before his speech was. So President Obama knew that he was going to be speaking, that Benjamin Netanyahu was going to speak, and he knew he had to control it. That's why he gave this. And is it interesting that he gave this speech as Benjamin Netanyahu is getting ready to board the plane? So he's now out of touch with everyone for 12 hours. He cannot respond right away for 12 hours. That leaves Benjamin Netanyahu with the bad news cycle of Friday to respond. Sunday, Obama speaks at AIPAC. Monday, Benjamin Netanyahu speaks at AIPAC. And Tuesday, Benjamin Netanyahu arrives at Congress. But the president is already gone. He's now in Ireland. Don't touch me, Lucky Charms, he says. Really? And then, while we have a chance to talk about what happened, the president is giving the toast that everybody is watching, and then he speaks in front of Parliament. What best friend in the world would do that when you're trying to plead the case and ask for the family's help? No best friend would. So, I contend that what is coming this summer is bad, and we're no best friend anymore to Israel. So what do? Well, the first thing you have to do is stop the mainstream media from doing what it's doing, or no, better yet, do what the mainstream media should be doing. And that is explain what is happening to the American people. Show everything that is happening. And show it in advance and how it's being orchestrated. You can predict this. Believe me, I have been for the last 6 months. You can predict it. Why? Because it's a game. It's a show put on for the world. To win this, it will all come down on you or to you. And don't think that I'm talking about the collective TV audience you. I'm actually speaking to you. Will you do nothing? Will you absorb this information? Or will you take it and see the perilous times that the world is in? Gang, this is the end game for the Western way of life. If this succeeds, you take out that keystone of Israel and the West falls. This is going to be the storyline presented to the world. The poor, peaceful Palestinians, all they do is they just want to work hard, and they want to make chocolate cake for their kids and play soccer and laugh and make the world a better place. But the evil Jew is hunting them down and destroying them again. It's the same story that's being told about you, the Americans, on Mexico's border. That's the story. Except this one's going to include lots of violence. If you think I'm crazy, let's follow through.